Hi, welcome to my next video. This time I wanted to show you the next part in the series in which I'm painting illustrations for the 2021 DOCOMO calendar. DOCOMO is a big cellular carrier here in Japan, and they asked me last year to paint them illustrations for their upcoming 2021 calendar, and they wanted me to feature places where they are trying to do something interesting with their mobile technologies. And here I'm painting Okinawa. At first the client wanted me to paint this small port and a ferry coming in to this port with a view on the small islands there in the background and the sky. And this scene was interesting because the view was from above, from a hill, so I had some freedom about how to show this port scene. For example, I tried a thumbnail where the buildings were kind of close up and you could see the ferry very well, but I cut the sky, so I didn't show the sky. But on a second thumbnail I tried to show this scene in a way that shows more of the sky and the clouds and the light shining through these clouds, but the buildings and the ferry are smaller and more in the distance, and you can also better see the smaller island there in the background. So as always in this series I spent some time trying to figure out interesting angles on this scene, so it's not boring just shot like with a camera, but it has some of the artistic approach. I made 3 thumbnails of the scene, a bit different versions, and sent them to the client to see what they will like the best. And as it sometimes is in projects like this, few weeks later I got a response and they said that the concepts changed, so I didn't have to paint the port and the ferry anymore. They just wanted to have a nice Okinawa beach with some small islands visible in the background. Okay, so I had to throw away all the thumbnails that I did and start anew with a beach scene based on some new reference photos that I got. And because this was really simple, actually it was just a beach scene. The sea has to be really nice, the sky has to be really nice, and that's basically it. I decided to start from the color rough and not do thumbnails for this one. I simply sketched this scene roughly and then colored it a bit to send this file to the client to check if they'll like it and not change their mind again. But after some days I got an okay message from them, so I started on the final picture. When I was still working in the animation industry doing backgrounds for animations, this kind of scene was a service shot. We basically had to do 1 background per day on average. So if we got something really difficult like a city scene with a lot of buildings, or something that had a really complex texture that had to be painted accurately, but mostly buildings, I guess. When we painted the Your Name backgrounds, for example, the buildings from Tokyo had to be really accurate because these were real places, and sometimes the backgrounds were painted based on how Tokyo was supposed to look in a year or two, because when the animation was released, a lot of the remodeling on I think Tokyo Station and some other places were planned to be finished, so we had to kind of look into the future and paint how the buildings will look when they are finished. So it was really difficult to paint them accurately and realistically while they didn't exist yet. So it was very time consuming to do these kind of backgrounds or other really detailed ones. Detailed background could take from 3 to 4 days, and really big one with a lot of small details like a view on the city with a lot of small buildings would take even a week, I think. But every person would also get some service shots, of course. So just some sky with a cloud or a tree just barely visible in the background, or some pavement with nothing on it or something like this, or a cut where the character covers most of the screen and there's just a bit of background visible in the corner or something. So when one got this kind of a cut, it would be done in an hour or 2 and our average background time would drop significantly. This scene, of course, was not so simple. I spent 5 hours adding details to the final version, so it looks okay and it looks in the same style as the other pictures in the series. But similar to the previous picture I showed you in this series, in the previous video, this scene is made up only from organic textures, so there's no building that you have to be really accurate when painting. With non-organic things like a building, for example, if you paint something wrong, it's really obvious that this one stroke or this one part is wrong. Here, there is a bit of a leeway. I don't have to be like photographically accurate here. Just the textures, the colors, and the overall atmosphere has to be right. So this is again for me a painting process where it's more like meditation when I just add these details. The most difficult part of this piece was the blue color of the sea that I saw on the reference photos. I think I got it quite close in the digital picture, but I was told that it was really difficult to get right in print. It took several tries to get it close. Because I usually paint in traditional media, it's not so difficult to reproduce my works in print, but this picture really looks better in digital. Anyway, I had a lot of fun painting this beach scene. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. As always, feel free to comment, share and subscribe, and you can also support me on Patreon. It's your support on Patreon that allows me to spend time making these videos. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.